That must be Deborah. It is. How did I know that? But they're saying a 9 or 10. I should have a drink.
We'll have to plan ahead next time and get like some martini glasses.
Yeah. Hi, people.
Oh, great. I'll get their attention.
That wasn't it. She's standing on a chair. It's like it works. I love that.
ArtWalk MECCA. And I was here yesterday and you weren't, but that's fine. So you'll be able to, I'll have some questions about your work. Always intriguing. And I also want to introduce you to Deborah, who's going to fill you in about what goes on here. Truly a fascinating place.
It is.
Here you go. And bring it close.
Okay. Okay, I have a cheat sheet because I have some statistics for you guys. In 2014, MECCA diverted 44,582 pounds of materials from landfills, and we donated 12,018 pounds of supplies to educators and teachers for free art supplies for their classes. And those donations all reached 24,178 students in 550 organizations in the area. So our purpose here at MECCA is to divert materials out of the waste system and into creative life and being in the area. So I'm going to hand you over to Aaron.
Yeah.
Are you ready for him?
Yeah, I'll do this quickly.
Okay.
So I came here again the other day. I've seen the work, but you can explain about what you do, a little bit about the medium, and what pleasure you take in doing it.
Okay, well, MECCA, this place has been a really good resource for me and for my work, and this is my third show here, and I love working with raw materials, spontaneous materials. I think in the creative process that I do, I think that having a lot of interesting materials on hand really kind of facilitates me as an artist. I feel like if I have those things, I'm kind of a hoarder, and people put up with me having a lot of junk in my house. I do have a lot of junk. I was just saying how much this place looks like my house. And I really love MECCA for that reason, because artists don't really make a lot of money. It's very hard to find good materials. This place is just a great resource. I mean, for any kind of artist. I mean, for instance, I used to be just a painter or just a sculptor, and I started making my puppets. And the puppets are it's kind of a different medium because you're using fabric, you're using foam, you're using a lot of recycled materials in crazy, unique ways. And MECCA is the absolute perfect place to find those materials, and for a very, very low price. And so I always urge people to donate to MECCA. You can bring your materials down here if you have junk in your house that you don't want. One man's trash is another man's treasure. As an artist, I encourage people, if you're an artist and you want to try something new and new materials, this is a good place to start. And yeah, I just love this place. And I will show here anytime they want me to show here, because it's just it's a great, really great resource for Eugene. We're really lucky to have MECCA here. And like she said, 15 years. It's like I've been coming here for so long, since it was at a different location. This is the new location. And years, I don't even know how long I've been coming here.
So if I'm looking around, how do I identify your work here?
Well, Jill's work is really, she's got an amazing eye for texture and for color, and Jill is just really, she's just brilliant when it comes to collage, mixed media. This is why I love to have the show with her. This is actually my second show with Jill, but this is way bigger, on a bigger scale, and so we did kind of mix our work together.
So there are ID tags around them? Yeah, so
the hanging tags are Jill's. I mean, like, these three pieces here are Jill's, so you can kind of get a good idea. But My work tends to be a little bit more colorful, more spontaneous. My paintings, like I said, I'm not really trained as an artist, but I feel like I just paint. I don't paint things in a style. I paint things that I just feel at the time. I really like to work spontaneously. And I think that those pieces, they kind of stand out, you know, away from hers, but they work together. They work really well. And the puppets are all hanging up there on the top, and those are the only puppets I have left. I've made about 30 of them over the past couple of years, and there's 5 left. So I've sold them all. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is great.
And you would continue to sell them, right?
Yeah. And like I said, I couldn't do it without MECCA. I just couldn't, because practically a lot of my materials come from here.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And so, Jill,
Yes.
come over here.
Okay.
You have to say a few words.
Do I?
And- yeah, we must have been talking about with the same designer today. Look at this. Okay, so.
Red and black.
I guess.
I gotta go on the other side. She's directing me over here.
More light.
In the light.
Perfect. So he pointed out right here. Where are your other pieces in the show? Here you go. I'm gonna give you this.
Oh,
You can talk.
I don't like microphones.
We'll need to
Okay.
go close. They want to hear you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, very gentle.
Okay, so that one on the right is mine. The one down on the lower left, the one up, there's a couple up on the top. There's a few over here. Those 3 pieces, there's some on that wall, and then up front, there's some and some in the glass case. And it's a mix. The funny thing is, when Aaron and I have known each other for a long time, and I have been involved with MECCA, both as a volunteer and other things, for 9 years. But Aaron and I have known each other for a while, and we were both involved with ESAP. So I don't know how this show came about, but we decided to do a show together at MECCA. And they graciously allowed us to do it. Thank you, MECCA. I love MECCA. MECCA is my heart. But the amazing thing was, when I brought my art the other day, we both went, ooh! And it just sort of all flowed together the way that it you know, it looks together. So
So do you work theme-based on some of your work, or how does that work?
No. I don't work. The way I work, my process is that my work sort of tells me where it wants to go, and that's really the truth. I have a studio that has boxes of stuff around the periphery, canvases, whatever, and I start with either a color paint or a piece of paper or just a color pen, and it goes from there. So no, I don't do themes.
So you have assemblages here too, I see. You find
There's
things
a
in-
couple up front.
Like this.
That one on the bottom there is actually an encaustic piece. I do a lot of encaustic work, which is actually working with pigmented beeswax, basically. So, okay.
Great.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you very, very much. This is really awesome. And thank you, MECCA. We love you. And thank you, Aaron. I adore you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Oh, yes. Give her a hand. That's great. Based on the evangelical statements here, people do love this place. And it's a great place to work. And I see materials here. So there must be workshops and things.
Workshops and studios, and we have a school, we have a teacher resource warehouse.
So if I wanted to know more, where would I look that up?
Materialsexchange.org.
Okay. Materialsexchange.org. So if you'd like to hook up with the
Can
things
I
that go on
jump
there.
in here?
Yeah.
Okay, because I did this whole volunteer thing for years, but if you go there, you can
sign up to be on the mailing list. And so
Super.
then you'll be notified of workshops. They're also on Facebook.
Yeah,
They have a
also
Facebook page.
and Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah.
Could you repeat the name again?
Facebook and Instagram.
Oh no, the name of the
Materialsexchange.org.
materialsexchange.org. So keep that going because I think it's creative things to do, and here would be a place to get started, right?
It's a great place to bring your kids, like
Yeah,
on a
looks like-
Saturday afternoon. They have all kinds of kids workshops and stuff. It's an awesome place.
If
Great.
you have things that you think would make great art, but you don't have any use for them, you don't want to throw away, we take donations.
We're funny.
Okay. So walk around for a few minutes, have a look at what's going on. We'll be leaving in about 10 minutes. But before we leave, I have something else for you. Another nice contest. So this is based on, we're performing Carmen this next weekend. Ballet Company's been in this town for a while. We've done a lot of performances, over 500 at the Holt Center. Now I want you to give me a number of total performances. So not only in Eugene, but we've performed in 32 states and also 11 countries. So there's a pile of shows. So your fantasy number may win you another great bottle of Rioja, which will stimulate your imagination wherever you are. And we'll do that before we go to our next place, which will be the Jacobs Gallery at the Holt Center. Another good show. But thank you both for letting us do your work and get us energized about what goes on here. Okay, see you all later. No, you are asleep.
Hi, my name is Thomas Laird Twyford II, and I'm a member of the New Zone Art Gallery. I'm also a retired ISA certified arborist, and for the last 32 years, I've been collecting the very best wood I could come across in my business and keep it for myself, and now retired, I'm making beautiful furniture out of it. Okay, here's this wood. As you can see, it's beautiful, and on the bottom, you see the TLT in a circle. That's my official Forest Service log brand.
Is a solo men's dance usually, or solo violin fiddle piece, and they like to do pounding the beat with their feet in the halling. So we're not, if we do that, it's not because we're doing the beat.
It's a really strange feel too. I don't know if I can do it.
find Scandinavian music and folk books, it's often Swedish tunes. So this is a Swedish polska like a waltz. Sort of like a theater.
Finally, we made it to the Americana portion of Americana portion of the show, except that these are English rags that we're going to play instead of Scottish rags or American rags either. Banjo, which is tuned like a guitar when it's in tune, and they were very popular in the 30s, 20s. So these are two English rags. They sound slightly different than American rags. I'm sure you'll hear the difference. months, and it's really easy to overpower the violin with it, because it can be quite loud. So I have to hold way back. Now we're going to play some American rags. These are fun. Stones Rag, I Don't Love Nobody, and East Tennessee Blues. We call I Don't Love Nobody the kitty cat rag, and you'll see why.
Yeah, oh yeah, these are good. So these are our favorite Americana tunes.
These are good banjo tunes. Usually I play them on the 5-string, but I didn't want to bring 17 things with me today. So you're going to hear it on this one. The ones we just played?
They don't sound like gospel.
No, but there was a whole style of, they've turned into traditional repertoire, so.
Yeah, they're not,
They were written by somebody, of course, but they just turned into.
they just say traditional on now, so the author's long lost. The next two we're going to do are Durang's hornpipe and Indian ate the woodchuck. More notes per square
More
mile.
ornamentation, so it sends a sounding. They just have a beat. So this is the boys of Ballycastle and Larry Redigan.
we have Janet Naylor and Linda Danielson. Janet plays the Celtic harp, and Linda plays the fiddle. And they've been collaborating with Chico Schwald, who plays guitar. He's going to join them next week as a guest artist, so I hope to see you then. And thanks for coming today. Bye-bye.
What we're here for is the juxtaposition of what you bring and what we see around us with this amazing carving, myth in wood and stone with cedar and say your last name? Corradio, with cedar Corradio. And when I was spying on this work yesterday to see a thing or two, to pick up things, I just loved these echoes of feathers and birds and beaks and claws and curves and echoing waves and rowers' arcs and wood grain and echoes of waters rippling and rings going inward and outward. And that watcher's eye, its curve and its arch, the seer and the seen, the flight, the journey, the Celtic agog and the Native American bird's look of untamed woe, all of this with a playfulness and sometimes scary and always beautiful. And I kept finding the art in all kinds of tucked in, above, below, beside me, and so have fun investigating these things. So, Cedar, tell us a thing or two. I know that there's something about process that's so amazing, and then there's something about your talking about myth and your relationship to myth that I want to hear about. So, the wood, you, and then myth.
Okay, first I want to thank Jim and Donna for housing artist work. I really appreciate that in these times that we have. It's hard to talk after your explanation was like, what do I say after that? That was really cool. That was really well done. I just, the mythology of where we live and the DNA that we bring with us, I think has an impact on my art, and I'm sure many other people's art. So for me, the animals and the humans and the interaction and the wood that we live in the great forest here of the Northwest, Cascadia, and the wood is from this area, a lot of different gatherings through the forests here, and a lot of different types of wood, and the mythology and also the history of the different trees, which you've got yew trees, western red cedar, white cedar, and some of these are found only here in the world. So that's pretty spectacular. So to try and bring that out as well. And also carrying on ancient art in this area, also European. My teacher was a European who lived here and grew up on Vancouver Island. So he's influenced by indigenous people here a lot. And so my pieces are kind of a person looking at it saying, it looks Celtic Hedda, sort of. It's got this blend. And I purposefully do not I take motifs and some design elements from like indigenous people here, but not their specific designs and their story, because I'm not. So I'm European and Scots and Italian, so I'm drawn to the myth of Europe. Only it's kind of filtered through where we live here. So that's kind of my story, and you know, the using tools, and I use carving steel. I don't use I use the old school, you know, mallet, chisels, gouges, wedges, axes, adzes, slickers. This is all old style, because the man I learned from was like he was contemporary. He passed in the 90s and he was 101, so I was kind of taught with that in mind. And that's carrying on that kind of sense of using. It takes time, and but there's something in the process, and it feels pretty ancient when you're hitting a mallet and cutting through material like it's been done for many eons. So that always feels really great that way. So I feel like I'm carrying that on. I'm just one more step in those people that have done that for a long time. So it feels good. That feels really good for me to do that, and not having sanders and stuff in my ear. I can just, you know, be out working in my studio and all you hear is a little chipping going on, and I really like that aspect too, the tangible. So that's kind of where I'm at with
And think about myth, just
Yeah.
because I love myth, and do you create images and it reminds you of certain myths, or do you feel, are you using the myth in a sort of a very wide open, more like mythic, rather than specific stories or tales or, you know, characters?
Yeah, probably both. This piece, for instance, the one standing here, there's a story behind that, and we'll call it the stork, the water bird, and for the Druids it was a very spiritual bird, and it brought the Ogham alphabet, which is the alphabet of the trees, to the Druids. And so they could tell by the way the wings, when they were flying, certain wing patterns were certain letters, which they used as a secret alphabet so that the Romans who took over their country couldn't understand, so it was a secret language. So this is the bird bringing the language is cut into the stone here on one side, and the other side is an ancient motif of birds biting each other from the stone in Scotland. So the bird is bringing the language to the people. So that's basically, so it's mythology.